I think a lot about what actually makes a person good. Not perfect, good. There are a handful of qualities that matter, but if I had to pick the one that everything else depends on, it would be integrity. That word gets thrown around a lot, but I want to be specific about what I actually mean by it. The word integrity means whole, not split in two. When we talk about a person with integrity, we mean someone whose values and actions are aligned. What they believe and how they live match up. Now, sure, someone could have bad values and live by them. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean actions lining up with values you'd actually want in someone you trust. Things like honesty, fairness, accountability. I want to tell you about a moment in my own life when having integrity was a hard choice. There was definitely an easy path and a more difficult one. This goes back to the early 2000s, right after the dot-com bubble burst. I was a contractor, not staff, for a training company. When the bubble popped, teaching work dried up fast. One day the owner called me in. I assumed he was going to tell me there was no more work for me, that it would all go to the instructor on the payroll. But instead, he offered me the full-time position. I was genuinely surprised, so I asked him, "What about my co-worker, the full-time instructor?" He was a single dad and really needed the job. The owner said, "Honestly, you're more flexible than he is. You can travel. It just makes more sense." And he was right. It did make more sense. For the company. But I sat there thinking about this guy who had a kid depending on him, less ability to move around, and fewer options than I had. And I turned down the offer. I never told my friend. I just knew I couldn't take the job, knowing it would hurt someone who was already in a harder spot than me. Things got lean for a while. I put out the word I was looking for work. Eventually, I picked up a lower-paying full-time job elsewhere. And then, one day, a few months later, I got a call out of the blue from someone I used to work with, and it led to something better than my old teaching job ever would have been. I'm not telling you that to say good things always happen when you do the right thing. I don't know if that's true. I'm telling you because I respected myself. I acted like the person I wanted to be. And that feeling, respecting yourself, has rewards that often outweigh money. I'm not going to pretend I always get this right. I still make mistakes. Just not as often as I used to. And I notice them faster now. There have been times I took the easier path, knowing it wasn't in alignment with who I want to be. And I can tell you, I've regretted every one of those times. But integrity isn't something you either have or you don't. It's something you keep working at. I've noticed over time that the more I've tried to close that gap between what I believe and how I actually act, the better I feel about the person I'm becoming. Not perfect, I'll never be that, but pointed in the right direction. And honestly, I think that's the whole game. If this feels like something that could benefit you, try it on. You don't have to overhaul your life. Just notice the next time there's a gap between what you believe and what you're about to do. That noticing, that's where it starts. Better and better every day.